Before I start, the first half of this video is going to be devoted to motivation for people who want to start learning a language, and the second half is going to be motivation for those who have already started but are, maybe faltering, not very confident that they're learning anything, or just looking for motivation to continue. I will include the seconds for when that begins sometime down below, and go to whichever part you need. You're thinking about starting to learn a language, but you don't know if you can, you don't know if you have time, you don't know if you want to. These are all valid questions, but I'm here to tell you that, learning other languages, learning foreign languages, for me, has been probably the highlight of my life, and something that I like so much that I wanted to make a YouTube channel about helping others learn these languages. And so I know from experience that you can do it, because I can do it. But why am I so sure that just because I can, you can? Well, we're both human beings, right? If I can do something like learn a language, then you can. I mean, let's say, for example, that you're an electrical engineer. I don't know. I personally hated math, and electrical engineering seems really hard. But I know that if I had the motivation and I went and did college again and did that as a degree, I think that I could become an electrical engineer. Same for you. Languages, you don't even need to spend 7 hours a day in the library to learn a language like you might have to do electrical engineering. All you really need is some amount of time in a day. Let's say you only have 15 minutes a day and you think, oh, I can't learn a language like that. Yes, you can. That's an excuse. Now, will you be able to pick up Mandarin in a year doing 15 minutes a day? No, you need to be realistic. But at the same time, how long is life, right? So I'm 23. If I did 15 minutes a day of Mandarin, maybe I could pick it up in 3 years, in 4 years. Then I'll be 27, or then I'll be 27, 28. That's totally fine. I mean, then I have so much more time. So if it's the time, think about it. You have so much more life left to live, and if it takes you 2 years to learn a language, 3 years, 4 years, I mean, that's how long it took you to graduate from. Takes many people to graduate college is 4 years. So I have no doubt that if you wanted to learn a language, you can do it, and that time is not a factor. It's just an excuse. It might take you longer, but you can do it. Maybe you think you're too old. Come on, that's a bad excuse. Granted, it is easier for younger people, under 14, under 12, especially under 6, to learn new languages. But does that mean that you can't at 55? Absolutely not. You have so much more life experience, you have so many more things to draw upon that might actually help you. Just because you can't soak up a language like a sponge just by listening to your mom talk to you like a baby, doesn't mean you can't learn a language. So if that's the reason why you're hesitating about stopping, get rid of it. You can do it. They're all excuses. Learning languages can be fun, if you think it has to be all about grammar and terrible things and writing essays and stuff. It doesn't have to be like that. You can choose to go that route. I personally like grammar, and with Russian, I do grammar every week. But you can also just, watch Netflix, copy what they say, talk to native speakers through the plethora, the huge amount of internet, resources. There's so much on the internet now that the excuses for you not to start a language are non-existent. There's no reason you shouldn't want to start a language. Especially if it will help you with your career, with your family, with whatever. The internet is such an incredible place with so many resources that there's no reason that you can't start your language journey today. So after you finish watching this video, I want you to go find some things on Netflix in this language. I want you to go online and find a learner's book, maybe a free PDF online of a children's book in that language. I want you to go to LangFocus YouTube channel and watch the 15-20 minute long YouTube video on whatever language you want to learn. He's done videos on everything. So that's what I want you to do. Start yourself on that journey, make yourself a schedule, start the language journey, and you can do it. But, let's say maybe you've been learning a language for 6 months, 8 months, maybe even a year, however long it might be, and you're starting to feel kind of that fatigue. I've felt it. Many of my friends who like languages feel it as well. You know, you get to a point where you think, I'm not learning anything. I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't very fun for me. Now I do it more like a chore than less like I enjoy it. Trust me, I've been there. So let me give you one piece of advice on how to maybe fix that. Something that I did is I stopped. I was learning Russian and it got to the point where I had to like force myself to do the smallest things. And I realized, okay, if I continue to do this, I'm going to give up. So I took a week. I took 7 days. I didn't do any Russian. And I came back on that last day more motivated and more excited about it. I felt weird after a couple days of choosing not to do it. I had given myself a certain time frame, and then during that time I felt kind of weird. But that's a great way that you can give yourself motivation. Just give yourself a break. They do that for school. You get a break in the winter and a break 2 months in the summer. So you might also need something like that as well. Just don't let the break become permanent. And that's also what this video is for. Is maybe you still like learning it. You've been hitting it for 6 months, 8 months, however long, a year, 2 years maybe, and you've stopped seeing the growth. You've stopped seeing yourself improve. You don't know what to do anymore. And let me give you another analogy that I always like to use with my students learning English, or with people that I give advice to. Learning a language is like going to the gym. If you go to the gym every day, you pick up, let's say, the 10 kilogram or the 22 pound, 22 and a half pound weight, and you're doing curls. And after the first month, 2 months, you look down at your arms and you think, yeah, like I'm getting bigger. And then, those 10 kilogram weights get easy. But you never go up to the next one, the 12 kilogram weights, the 15 kilogram, 25 pound, 30 pound. You just stay with that 20 pound weight, whatever it is, whatever the weight that you have. And 3 months go by and you keep using it, and you stop seeing those gains, but it becomes very comfortable. It's very easy to lift that. Maybe after 6 months you might go to the 25 pound weight, and then it's a little bit harder again, but soon it becomes easy because it's not that much harder. That's not how languages work. So when I first started learning German, I spent like a month kind of doing YouTube and stuff like that, trying to figure out stuff about the language. And then I bought Harry Potter 1 in German. At the beginning of the book, it took me 20 minutes to read 3 pages. I was writing stuff in the margins. I was Googling things I didn't understand. I understood maybe 25% of what I was reading, if that. But now I'm halfway through and I understand, maybe 50%. And that's an incredible gain. For you to make the best amount of gains or consistent, it's between 60 and 80% you want to understand, because that 20 to 40% that you don't, that's what you're learning. And if you can increase that, like I said, 25% I understood, that's very hard. It's very difficult. I didn't really enjoy it. So unless you're especially motivated, maybe avoid that because it could burn you out. But if you are, the less you understand, the better, because that's more space for you to learn. So if you're stuck, try something difficult, try something new. Then you might actually learn some things and find some new stuff that can keep you motivated to keep going. And maybe you've reached an upper level and you don't feel like it's easy for you to improve now. And that is true. The higher you get, the higher on the mountain you go, the less of the mountain you have left to climb, and it becomes more difficult because there are less things that you don't know. But I challenge you to go find something that you think is difficult in your own language, like philosophy or politics, discourse, whatever, and start doing that in your learning, in the language you're learning, and you'll find that real fast that there is more than you can learn. But in any case, you can absolutely finish it. You can learn it. You can get to whatever level you want to do. You just have to not give up. It might take you another year. It might take you another 2 years. But in this big scheme of things, like I said with the beginner, for those motivation for beginners, in the grand scheme of things, a year, 2 years in your life, that's nothing. You can absolutely achieve this. Just stay consistent, challenge yourself, and I totally believe in you. I have full confidence. Please. And if you're looking for resources, you can go to my blog, iowanpointofview.com, where I have things for all of the languages that I have learned, some more than others, because, some I have more experience with than others. But please, if you're looking for resources in Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian, German, Russian, what am I missing? English obviously, and Arabic, please check out my blog. Hopefully I can help you out, and have a nice day.